I'm going to let you
For
kind of
sure.
introduce yourself. Obviously, I know who you are. But just, tell us your name, where you're from. And only because you're young, I'm going to ask you to give your age.
Yeah, I get asked my age a lot just because I sound like a child. My name's Ethan. I'm a real estate agent. I work with my dad in credit card processing. I'm doing real estate investing as well. 21.
How old were you when you got your real estate license?
Let's see, November. That's when I got my license.
Okay.
November of 2020. I've been working from November all the way till now in real estate, and then working to do my first flip this month. I was supposed to close yesterday, but sellers needed more time.
Why real estate? You're 21 years old. You could do anything. You could go sell cars. You could go 1,000 other things you could do. You could get into other options, and you could go to college, get a degree, become a doctor, become a lawyer. Why get into real estate?
I'm stubborn, and when I get my mind set on something, I'm persistent in achieving that. So when I first got into real estate, it was because my dad was looking for investment properties. When we first went to go look at properties, we were really kind of shocked with the kind of agents that we were getting, right? We were always misinformed, uninformed, right? We'd ask the agent a question. Oh, I don't really know. Well, can you find out for us? Yeah. That shouldn't be a question you should have to ask. Part of my mission as a real estate agent is being prepared, right? Before I go to a showing, I have a folder. It's got seller's disclosure. It's got MLS information. It's got property information. It's got contracts, right? Preparation, I feel, is key. So when I walk into a property, whether it's a listing or a showing, my main focus is preparation. And again, why real estate? The original question was stability. Real estate, as opposed to compared to all the other markets, it's stable, right? You're looking at generational wealth when you deal with real estate. It's not just instant, and it can be, right? There's a lot of different tangents in real estate. You can buy a property, and then in a month or 2 months, the equity turns into you gain like 50,000-60,000 over equity.
Now with the market crazy all over the place, I know you're in Texas, Florida, United States, I think just everywhere. I'm in Puerto Rico. Currently where I'm renting now, I could have bought this place for maybe 200,000. Today it's, up in the 400,000, and I've been here just a little over a year. Why would somebody want to invest in real estate right now? Should someone on a personal level buy a home right now in real estate? Now, I know I'm kind of putting you in the spot because your job is to sell, but you also are here to educate.
Yeah, no, I've talked myself out of a lot of sales, because at the end of the day, when somebody comes to me and talks to me about selling their house, my first question is, what's important to you? Is cash on hand important to you? Is security important to you? Or is general wealth important to you? If you're moving to a new market, are you going to want a safety net? Are you going to want something that you can build equity in? Like in this market, renting is just so easy. I think and I just checked this yesterday, in the last 180 days, 700 properties have been rented just here in the greater McAllen area. That number is huge in the renting market. So why buy? Interest rates are low. Every agent will tell you that. Interest rates are low. It's still a good time to buy. No matter what, the world isn't getting any smaller or bigger. It's set. There's a set amount of land. There's a set amount of materials. The only thing that's changing is how many people are on this planet. You're getting this huge flux of people coming into the market. McAllen has had incredible growth over the last just 2-3 years. I think like over 100 subdivisions popped up and sold out. We got a buddy that's developing a fourplex subdivision. I think he had like 80 lots or something. And fourplex subdivisions, when you would buy a lot 3 years ago, you're gonna pay like $50,000 for a fourplex lot. He sold out before he even broke ground at $130,000 a lot.
Crazy.
Sold out before he even broke ground.
What would you say is the most misconception about investing currently in the real estate market?
Biggest misconception is that when you invest in real estate, you're going to see the returns immediately. So that may be the case sometimes, but this is a long-term investment. I'll use the property that I'm currently buying as an example, because I know the numbers well. Current market value is about $250,000. Because of the seller's need to sell and a lot of other equations about the property, I've negotiated down from list price of $249,000 to $205,000. So I'm getting a pretty good deal on it, right? Yeah. Just off of that. Renovations, it's going to cost me $14,000. That's labor and materials. And it's going to be a brand new product in the end. A brand new product in this market, you could sell at maybe $110, $111 a square foot, and I'm buying it at 82. There's a huge markup in equity right there. For me, it's very easy to want to sell it, right? Because I would just make 50, 60,000 right off the bat. As opposed to if I keep the money in the property, the equity is still there. You got to think about properties as a bank account. I mean, yes, it is risky. Something could happen. Market could flip, but it's not a stock market. It's not as volatile as stocks or bonds. It's the most secure asset that you can own. What I'm doing is I'm keeping the money in the property. I did projections over the next 5 years. If I keep the money in the property, I double my cash in 4 years, 4.5 years.
That's cash in. I spoke to somebody recently who in 2008, he had a house in California. I don't know the exact amount, but let's just say the house is worth like 800,000. 2008 crash happens. He panicked. He sold it for because they had dropped to I think like 300,000. And I think today that house is 1 point something million. Me personally, and I'm probably ignorant to this, I believe that this year we may see a correction in the market. But even then, if you have these homes that you own, and even if the equity does drop, it could only go back up. I mean, is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Right. If you don't have a direct urgency to sell, I would never sell. And as a real estate agent, this sounds terrible. You know, most real estate agents are like, now's the perfect time to sell. It's a seller's market. But as somebody who believes in generational wealth, who believes in accumulation of wealth, not having cash on hand ready to spend, stuff like that.
Oh.
I think you should never sell unless you need to. So for an example of what you need to, medical expenses, right? Emergency in the family, divorce. There are very specific reasons to sell, and there's plenty. My job is about qualifying people, right? I'm not going to convince somebody to sell. I'm going to qualify somebody to sell. Wow. Because I don't want somebody to sell unless they need to. If you need to sell, sell. And I just talked myself out of a sale yesterday. You know, somebody called me and he's like, Ethan, I got a house in McAllen. I just moved to Dallas. You know, I have both mortgages and I'm maintaining both mortgages. I want to sell it. You know, I can probably pull out maybe 30, 40,000 of the property in equity. What do you think? And I said, well, can you rent it out? I knew the answer. Yes, very easily. He wanted $1,300 a month in rent. It could easily sell for $1,800, easily.
Wow.
Just turn around. He could rent it out for $1,800. He could be cash flowing $500 a month while building equity in the property as well.
And someone's paying the mortgage.
And somebody's paying the mortgage, yeah. But I mean, why not sell it in like 10 years when you have like 150,000 in equity or something like that?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think you need a real estate license in order to understand investing in real estate better?
There's not a lot of real estate agents who think like me. And I know it sounds kind of like conceited or something like that, but no, it's just, I've come into so many people who are so burnt and untrusting because they run into agents who they're trying to convince them into a sale, right? It's like you have these agents like, oh, I can sell anything. That's not the point. This position is to help buyers buy the property that they want and need and help sellers sell when they need to. That's what this position is for. You're asking me, do you need a real estate license? If you know somebody who you can trust and has your best interest at heart, right, which that's very hard to qualify for, I don't think you would, because like I have plenty of investors that they trust me wholeheartedly. They say, you know, Ethan, if you tell me to go with this lender, I'll go with this lender. If you tell me this property is good, I trust you. I'll sign the paperwork. We've built the relationship. They know how my mind works. They don't need a license. They're also supporting me to working towards my goal. So it's a give and take.
Yeah.
But if you don't have anybody that you know you can trust, go through the real estate process, understand the contracts, understand the law, you know, go through the market, get MLS access so you can see, you know, details on what properties you want, and you can sign yourself up for automatic emails, right? Which is huge. I get automatic emails. So if a fourplex hits the market, it doesn't refresh every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8 a.m. It's as soon as it hits the market. Mm-hmm. As soon as the listing agent clicks submit, I get an email. And I can sign other people. I sign all of my clients up for those.
Are there any books, any classes, mentors, anything that you are accessing that maybe you want to share with us that we could access that could help us grow in learning in real estate or in business overall?
Before you get into real estate, right? Because a lot of people want to rush into real estate. Before you get into investing or anything, if you're at square one, you're sitting at home watching this video and you work a 9 to 5 and you don't see investing in sight, get your mindset right first. Atomic Habits, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Millionaire Next Door. Those are 3 great books that I started. More Advanced Investing Principles by Ray Dalio. I mean, this man was a genius with systems, right? Programs, if you're looking into real estate, the only programs that I did was my licensing, CCIM, right? Certified Commercial Investment Member. I'm working on GRI, which is one of the basic things that real estate agents shoot for as soon as they get their license, because it kind of like, it fills you in on everything. How to look at a property, how to represent somebody, how to do paperwork. Like, it's stuff that the licensing doesn't cover. Graduate Realtors Institute. Yeah, Perfect. That's it. I'm only licensed in Texas. The market areas are anywhere from South Padre Island to Laredo, all that South Texas area. My first property that I sold was South Padre, and also San Antonio. I recently became a member of the Board of Realtors up there to sell real estate in San Antonio. And so those are the markets that I'm working right now.
Well, I want to tell you this, man. You're an inspiration to me. A lot of the younger people today, they have access, free tools, books. I think you mentioned our necessity to read these books, access on YouTube for those who don't want to read all the time. They get audiobooks. And so you're definitely an inspiration. Is there anything, or if we want to follow you, I'll put your information on the description if people want to follow you. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
There's 2 things, right? One of my CCIM instructors told me, business is a systematic execution of fundamental activities. Identify your fundamental activities, systemize it, execute it. 2, move around, right? Most of the stuff that I learned was because my first credit card was a Discover It card, right? I had a credit line of like 6,000 or something like that. I literally went and bought all these developers, builders, investors. I bought them all lunch. I took them out and I had questions. That's where I got my foundation, because the first couple of months I was in real estate, I maxed out my credit card just taking people out to lunch and dinner. One of the guys, I had been trying to take him to lunch for so long. Finally, he texted me one day. He said, "Hey, Ethan, I'm headed over to Jason's Deli. If you can meet me there in 10 minutes, we can talk."
Nice.
I was in my office and I up and went straight there. I didn't even eat when I got there. He had already gotten his food. So I just went straight to him, sat down, talked to him. And I got so much from that 30 minutes of sitting with this man who had 40 years in real estate.
And I don't mean this disrespectful, man. I'm going to be 40 this year, so I don't mean this disrespectful, but your generation, unfortunately, I don't see a lot of that. I see a lot of behind the phone stuck there, DMs only, and they're afraid to socialize. You have social skills, you're young, you're understanding business. Honestly, your future, I mean, it's bright if you just continue staying focused, man. So I want to congratulate you respectfully, because you're a grown man, but respectfully, I want to say that it's not every day that I could see someone your age that allows me to say, man, there's people out there that are still doing this, man. So that's amazing, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, and to everybody watching, if that's you, right, you feel like you don't have that hustle, stop focusing on everybody else. Because the problem with our generation is we're so caught up on this, that we don't look at ourselves. We're spending 6, 4, 5 hours a day looking at everybody else. That time, if you just put yourself in a scenario where you didn't have a social media, a phone, whatever, right? If you didn't have any of that, just think 4 or 5 hours, how much could get done? And that was a lesson my dad told me when I was younger. I mean, I was just playing video games, going out with girls, doing whatever I wanted, spending dad's credit card. And he's like, Ethan, on Friday, go to the office at 7 a.m. By 8 a.m., I want you to have made 100 phone calls or you have to move out. That was 2 years ago. And I made those 100 phone calls. You better believe I did. I didn't want to move out. I didn't have a job, nothing, So I went there. I made 100 phone calls. That was the day that I realized how much somebody can get done in it. Look at your phone. Look at how much you use Instagram or Snapchat or whatever. And think opportunity cost. You're spending 5-6 hours on Instagram, Snapchat, looking at somebody else's life. When those 5-6 hours, you could be self-reflecting.
Wow.
And self-reflection is key.